Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wabash Valley Business Podcast. We are glad you are here. We want your business to grow. We created this podcast because we want to help local business owners connect with each other and grow their business. It's hosted by Solve Don't Sell, and this episode in particular is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau Insurance and FlexPoint Spaces. We hope you enjoy this episode. Let's go. All right, you ready to rock?
Ready.
All right, we've got a special guest today. It is my brother. So thank you, Nate Wake, for jumping on to the Wabash Valley Business Podcast. We are not in the Wabash Valley today.
No, we took a field trip.
A long one.
A long, 839 miles, I think we said to Nate's.
Is that what it was? 839?
Something like that.
I know it was smooth sailing all the way.
Smooth sailing.
You guys made great time.
We did make great time. We also chose to make the voyage when the news was like, don't travel.
Yeah.
There's ice everywhere.
All of our wives were like, you're not going really, are you?
And when they said that, I was like, well, Shane says we are.
Yeah. Even my wife was like, are you going to go? I was like, yes.
Yeah.
We're committed. Yeah. Nate is expecting us.
I am. Yeah. Minivan and all.
Yeah.
Get down here.
Yep. So we did. We loaded up the minivan. The minivan, there was only one moment where we were a snowplow.
Yes.
But other than that, the roads were actually great.
Well, we hit
a
couple spots there. The plows threw snow back up on the road. We still don't.
Us Southerners don't know how to
Still don't
clear
understand
roads.
how that worked out, but right in a hairpin curve of
There's one entrance
at
ramp,
80.
and we were coming around, and the roads were clear.
We were coming in hot too,
and it's a turn, and he's banking in, and all of a sudden, they plowed the spray of the snow into our lane. So
from the side of the road.
All of us
how
were
does
like,
that happen?
That's called job security.
Yeah.
You plow the road and then you put it back on so you can come back through.
Keep going back and forth with it.
Yeah,
It's
they're
not
paid
a bad
by the
idea.
foot.
It's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
It was like one by one. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Hit the brakes, and
All good.
Shane crushed it, man.
Yeah, and you made it here. So
We did.
Yeah,
Thanks, Nate,
absolutely.
for hosting us in his house too.
Yeah, and
yeah.
here is Texas. We haven't said that yet.
That's true. We haven't said here's Texas.
Yeah, Dallas-Fort
Hurst.
Worth, Texas.
Hurst, Texas.
Yep. Yep. In the Metroplex.
Yep. So to get started, I'll give a little background on Nate, and I think just the best way to do this is to tell a story.
Well, we have our special
no.
co-host guest today,
Yep.
Matt Wilmore. Matt traveled with us.
I did.
We'll kind of jump
All the
in.
way.
We'll kind of jump into those stories later.
Listen, here's what's happened. We came down to Texas, and Matt and Shane took off. They've been drinking bourbon. They went and bought some Tacovas.
Yes, we did.
We did buy some new
We can dive into that. That was a lot of fun after we talked to Nate.
They thought about buying some cowboy hats.
Yeah, thought about it. A little disappointed that we didn't. We were supposed to all be wearing cowboy hats today.
Yeah, I know. It would have been cool.
Yeah.
It would have been fun.
They're just expensive. You know,
and I thought the only time I'll wear this cowboy hat is for this podcast.
Is on this podcast.
We could have bought them, and every time we podcasted, wore cowboy hats.
There you go. Henceforth.
Oh, we should. With a name like Black Barn, we should be wearing cowboy hats.
But how would our headphones fit with
You'd have
cowboy
to
hats?
cut a little hole.
custom cut. Yeah. I already thought about that.
Okay,
And they do that for motorcycle helmets.
that's true.
What do? Comes over the top?
Well, we just custom design it.
Slide them back like the kids wear them around your neck.
Yeah.
Be like this.
Just a bunch of cowboys.
Cowboys.
That would work.
So Nate is my younger brother, and I just figured that one of the best ways to introduce this podcast is just to give some of his backstory professionally, but it starts all the way back when we were teenagers.
Right.
So
Actually, a little before that, since
Yeah.
you're brothers. I mean,
From birth, but
Yeah.
we can start at teenagers.
right.
You guys
So-
did know each other before your teen years?
Yes, we did actually. Yeah, thank you for clarifying that. But so there's one story we've told this a few times in different settings, but I feel like it's just a great one to get started. I don't know what led to this moment, but I had an airsoft gun, an automatic airsoft gun. Nate
Seems logical.
was just out in the backyard, and I decided that he did not have an airsoft gun.
Minding my business.
He was defenseless, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
He looked vulnerable.
Minding my business.
So I turned that thing on, and I just started spraying.
Slide him up.
Right at him, and he took off running, and he ran. We lived out in the country, and he ran into this metal shed that my dad had built, and there's no way out of that. And so when he ran in, he didn't shut the door. Our four-wheelers were in there, a bunch of stuff, and so I just was spraying the inside, and you could just hear it
Ting, ting, ting. Yeah.
all over. And he's like, he's screaming, Sam, stop, Sam, stop. Do you remember that?
I try not to.
He still has nightmares.
I'm like really trying hard right now not to go back and relive it, you know?
Yeah, and I was just, man, I was being a bully.
Yeah.
But then he got the door closed, and he locked me out.
No, the lock was on the outside, and you locked me in.
That's right.
Yeah.
Once he was in there, I locked you in. That's right.
That is right, yeah.
So he's stuck in there. It's a hot southern Indiana summer day,
Beautiful.
and he's angry.
Awful.
And he's upset. He's trapped. And I left him in there for a little bit, and there was a tree on the backside of the shed. And so I decided to climb it.
Yeah.
Right.
And I climbed up it, and there's like a slit at the top where the roof and the wall of the shed met. It was like open. And so I decided to climb up there,
Snipe him out.
and I was going to shoot in there some more. So,
Vulnerable, minding my business, you know?
so I get up in the tree, and I'm looking in there, and all of a sudden, whap! I get hit in the neck with something so hard. I mean, it hurt, and I fell out of the tree all the way to the ground, knocked the wind out of me. I'm laying on the ground like, oh! and all I can hear from inside the shed is, Sam, are you okay? Sam, are you okay? He had climbed into the rafters, and he had one of those bow and arrows, like little Sioux bow and arrows you could pick up at Walmart.
Oh, yeah.
And he hit me.
Found it.
He hit me with practice.
Yeah, I just had a field tip on it, but he's ducking his head in and out like,
Right.
And I didn't see it. And he shot me with a bow
looking
and arrow
for me.
straight out of the tree.
Like a squirrel.
oh, dude, just pinned him, pegged him. And he goes, landed, and I was like,
Couldn't breathe.
Did I kill him?
I was like, man, he locked that door. I'm gonna be stuck in here for a minute.
Yeah, Mom and Dad aren't home.
Yeah. No, they weren't. Yeah, we were just out being boys.
Yeah, so
I love those boy stories.
Oh, man.
Could you imagine if that would have been worse?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what if I had
Actually
skewered
stick
him
in my neck.
Right.
right through?
Sticking it
Same like walking around.
all the way through.
Yeah, he's stuck in there.
So don't pull it out.
Yeah, just unscrew the tip. And then pull it out.
But anyways, that's some of our background. So Nate and I go way back, but
Way back.
yeah. So Nate owns a company down here called Wakecraft LLC. They don't sell boats.
No, we don't.
Yep, it's
I was hoping to get a deal on a boat. That's
When people call, most people are.
why I drove all this way. I thought they had boats.
Yeah,
yeah. You're gonna bring back
We
one
did.
back for Shannon.
we did think. Oh, yeah. Shannon likes when I buy them unannounced.
You was telling the story. on the
Goes
way
over big.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So Nate's a contractor down here. He's doing a lot of different things. So we wanted to come down and interview him because he's from the Wabash Valley, but he's expanded down to Texas, and he's been doing it for 5 years now. You started in 2020, so he's in his 6th year, about to be in your 6th year, working on it, which is really cool. But Shane and Matt own Black Barn, and we've done a podcast on that. But as I help with some of the marketing things with Black Barn, I help with some of the marketing things with Wakecraft. I just kind of saw a natural connection, so I just said, "Hey, I feel like I should connect you with my brother because I think what you guys are trying to do could work in the Texas area. You guys are expanding to Tennessee, other areas, and so we made this connection, and now we're down here.
Here we are.
Yeah, and Nate's on the hot seat
There you go.
today.
Jacobus and whiskey later. Here we are.
Here we are.
Love it.
It's 7 a.m. We've got the whiskey out, the bourbon out. I've got my Rain energy drink over here. I've got my breakfast casserole. I'm ready to rock.
Yeah.
We're rolling.
We're rolling. So cool. How do you want to jump in?
Just a little bit about what Nate's got going on. He took us around yesterday, showed us some projects he's got working on. He's been working on, and he's dabbling in quite a bit of things here. So
Yeah, a little too much.
kind of jump in where you're at today, and
Yeah. So we've been, like Sam said, we've been doing it for about 5, going on 6 years now. And I think we started just doing simple handyman things. I think when we first got started, like when I first got started, a lot of people, when I was asking, like, hey, what should I do? I just got fired from another job and was needing work. And so I started talking to people. I was like, what would be the thing that I would do to pay my bills? And people were like, well, you could be a handyman. And that just didn't sound like appetizing to me. I was like, I don't want to be a handyman. Like, I don't want to go around and like do handy things. Like
Right.
that sounds weird, right? And so
I would also say you've always been a handyman, though. Nate's always had a knack, like grandpa, like
Yeah.
can fix anything.
well, I
always
mean, that's
figures
just
out
the way
how
it
things
is
work.
where we grew up. You know, you do it yourself. Somebody has a problem, you go fix it. Right?
And he's a good shot because he shot you in the neck
Yeah.
with a kid's bow through a slit in a roof.
Accurate.
It's like
He's accurate.
I didn't have very much like 30,000 foot view on that. It was
Right.
more of like in the moment, this is a solution.
Yeah, well, it was good.
It did, yeah. Just got stuck in the barn afterwards.
Yeah. Solution to stay in longer.
yeah. 30,000 foot view would have been
Should
like,
have thought that out a little bit.
yeah, maybe got him to unlock the door, then shot him. But got into, you know, really easy to just kind of get into the construction world because growing up, you fixed it, you did it. And so people are willing to pay because they don't have the time to do it. And so I just started doing small things here and there. Had a couple at the place that I was connected to from where I used to work that they had their in-laws moving into their garage. And they're like, hey, we need to turn this into like a living space. And like, can you come look at it and can you like tile a shower? I was like, sure, I could do that. So I went over and took a look at
It's
it.
always, no, he couldn't.
No, I had no idea.
He's
what
like, yeah, I know. Yeah, I got that.
Absolutely.
I got that.
Yeah.
Which
absolutely.
I interject because that's the entrepreneur way.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's always like,
The
yeah,
only way to figure something
yeah,
out
I know
is-
exactly how
Just
to
say
build.
yes.
I know how to build.
I could do
your
that.
house.
Who in my phone
YouTube.
did I call?
YouTube. How to tile a bathroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, ChatGPT wasn't a thing when that started. So like that was like real entrepreneurship.
The
right
customer
there.
walks in and you're watching YouTube videos.
That's like no, you,
Hey, I thought you said
hey,
you
you
did.
keep it on your headphones, Shane. Like you don't leave that crap on speaker. You put it in your headphones.
Okay.
Yeah. You ever walk onto a job site and somebody's doing that? That's what they're doing.
Right.
They're
Researching.
yeah, YouTube Universitying that crap. Yeah. So we started doing that, and they're like, "Can you do it?" I actually did know how to tile, thanks though. But I was like, "Yeah, I can tile the shower." And then they're like, "Hey, well, we need to like." I walked in, I was like, "Well, where's it going?" And they're like, "Oh, right here in the corner." I was like, "Well, where's the drain?" They're like, "Oh yeah." Can you do that? I was like, sure. So we're busting up concrete and doing all sorts of stuff. And they're like, well, we wanted to put a wall here and we wanted like a kitchenette and we wanted all this stuff. And I was like, how about this? Like, how about I draw you a plan and then we just do that? And they're like, sure, let's do it. And they loved it. And so we drew up a plan. They loved it. We got started and boom,
There it started.
there it started. And then they told somebody, and I wish they wouldn't have, because now we're busy, which is great, you know, all hindsight. But, you know, we get into learning, like we've learned a lot about the projects we want to take and the ones we don't want to take. And there's projects getting started that you have to take. Any entrepreneur, anybody that's starting a business does that. You've got to, you know, sift through that and you go through your growing pains. But started with that, and then it just kind of snowballed into other things, bathrooms and kitchens. And then we got into just some additions, some larger projects here in Texas. I would say 98% of houses are slab on grade. You've got some pier and beams, so there's a crawl space, but most of it's slab on grade. So it's a little bit different style of construction for remodels versus the Midwest. Everybody's got a basement. You
Crawl space.
Yeah, you can hop under there and move the plumbing. In Texas, you're busting up concrete and digging it out, and you might be in a footer or a beam, and
Yeah.
you never know. And so that was a little bit new for me, and so I learned quickly I don't really like remodels, but there's a lot of them to be done. So we made good money doing that, and then we slowly transitioned into some new construction stuff. And we're got a heavy focus on outdoor living, pools, things like that. We've also transitioned into some commercial work where we do a lot of hotel pools, multi-living pools, things of that nature, and like kind of like patios and just outdoor spaces. And so we love that.
Hardscapes.
Hardscapes. Yeah, hardscapes.
We seen some of that work yesterday, just a small snippet, but the pool and the putting green around the pool and the fountain. I mean, like, it was beautiful stuff.
was.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
thank you. Yeah. Yeah, no, we enjoy it. It's way better to work outside of somebody's home than inside somebody's home, because when you take away their kitchen and they're like, yeah, this is going to be great, it's going to be beautiful. Like, they're all excited up front.
Right.
And then you take away their kitchen
4 months later.
and they're like, I really don't like feeding my kids on the couch every night.
Right.
Or having a makeshift kitchen in our bathroom. Like, I want to make my coffee in my kitchen, get it done. But you're in their backyard, you know, then the worst case scenario is their dog or their kid can't go in the backyard.
And you're also doing some new home construction.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. We've got a project coming up. We're about to break ground on, probably next month. We're waiting on plans and permitting to go through. So, yeah.
So what's some of the things that's unique about Waitcraft compared to other contractors in the area? I've heard you talk about this a lot. But just talk about Waitcraft for a minute. You know, what makes you guys different in the industry? You know, other than your good looks.
Oh,
Now you're on the spot. This is
Nothing.
the question that you're like, whoa.
Nothing. We do work correctly the first time every time, no callbacks, and there's no punch list at the end of our jobs. I heard you guys grabbing about that. Sorry, I don't know what that's like.
That stung.
Yeah, well, No, so I think, when we got started, like I said, there's a lot of push, a lot of guys that I was talking to, like, hey, man, what could I do to make money? And they're like, dude, you need to be a handyman. Nobody has one, like a good one. And I didn't want to do that. And what I've learned is kind of like, okay, what is the different categories of contractor versus handyman versus new construction, builder, there's all these different categories, and people say, oh, I'm a builder, or I'm a contractor, or I'm a general contractor, or I'm an electrical contractor. Like, I had no idea what any of that meant. And as we got started, what I realized was, there's a lot of guys pushing me handyman or like a single trade. And so I was decent at tile work when I started. And so I started doing the math, and I was like, holy crap, to pay my bills, I'm going to have to lay 15,000 square foot of tile a month to pay my bills, period, just my bills. And that's not even with any overhead. That's a best case scenario. You're optimistic about it. And so as I was doing the math, I was like 15,000 square foot. I was like, oh my gosh, your average showers, shower walls are about 100 to 150 square foot, depending on ceiling height, like a tub shower combo or like a walk-in shower. I was like, that's a lot of freaking showers. I was like, I don't know where to find that many people. And that sounds like a lot of people to work with. And what I started to notice is I would go to contractors and other builders, and I would solicit them and get jobs. And so I'd be subcontracted out. And that was nice because there wasn't as much liability, because I just walk in, do my job, and leave. But then when I started to notice, I was like, man, I've got 15 projects this week that I've got to go touch. And that's 15 different problems with different customers and different people that I've got to walk in and be like, oh, this dude's really picky. Or, oh man, these people, whoever did the framing on this house did not plumb these walls at all. And I've got to do a bunch of extra work didn't account for. And so what I started to realize is oh man, that's not what I want to do. I don't want to be isolated into this because I'm driving to 15 locations. I'm doing all this crap. And then what I realized is when I did that first mother-in-law suite, and then I got a full bathroom after that, I was like, hey, this is way better, because I'm staying in one spot for a month, and I'm not having to bounce around a million different places. And so what I started to do was try to find those larger ticket jobs where it was instead of just a single scope and being a tile setter and having a tile crew, I just started finding those projects and doing them turnkey. And then I realized that not a lot of contractors do that themselves. I was like, oh, a contractor is somebody that's got a bunch of guys working different companies working as subcontractors under him. And so where we were different is we just came in and we were the company. We weren't necessarily contractors. We were the installers, the whole turnkey project. It was all in-house. And so we would sub out a few things. And now we do sub out quite a bit, just simply because of volume. We can't, I don't have enough guys that are quality enough and skilled, quality labor to take on the 12 projects we have running. So we do have quite a bit of subcontracting labor. But one of the things that we focus on is just the full turnkey project. That's one of the things that I noticed people really like and wanted. And then a lot of people would show up and be like, hey, I can do all of the roughing and then the tile, but you'll have to find your own painter, your own cabinet guy, your own stone guy, and all this other stuff. And so we really try to set ourselves apart in being as turnkey as possible and just a full solution for somebody. Because when somebody walks in and says they want a kitchen remodel, 9 times out of 10, they have no idea the amount of work that takes, or the full scope of work. What they think is, I want my cabinets this color, and I want my countertops this color, and I want this backsplash. They don't think about the million other
details
below the surface that you can't see. Same thing with a bathroom. Oh, I want to move this wall. We can move this wall, right? Or hey, I want to smooth all this texture over, and I want it to be absolutely flat and perfect. And they just don't think about the logistics that go into that and the detail and a lot of the engineering and architecture that needs to be taken into consideration to make that vision a reality. And so one of the things that we really focus on is a full picture turnkey. We used to not offer design services, design service being layout, floor plan, blueprint sort of deal, but then also your finish look. And we offer those now because we just notice when people get into it, we just would have the problems that we would run into were from poor planning. And usually on my negligence, the detail of understanding oh, this person's not thinking about that. I would just say yes and not and assume that they knew what they were talking about. And I'd be like, oh yeah, we could do that. And then I'm like, oh shit, no, we can't. Well, hey, you need to do this, this, and this before that's possible. And that would cause conflict. It's well, why didn't you tell me that? I was like, well, I didn't know that you didn't know that. Like you said, you wanted to remove the backsplash. I assumed you knew I would be ripping out the sheetrock and all this other crap and have to re-insulate the wall because all that came out and we found water damage and mold and termites and all this other stuff. And so, one of the things that sets us apart is just that we really try hard to be as detailed as possible. There's going to be problems on your construction project, period. Like somebody's not going to show up, something's not going to be available, somebody's going to break something or something's going to be broken and they're going to find it. And so just attention to detail and process before that and making sure we plan accordingly. And then also just the relationship and the client relationship of making sure we're not taking on more than we can handle. So that way we can adequately manage the experience and the relationship with our clients. I think that's 90% of the battle is managing your relationship with your client. Because if it goes south, then the project's just soured, period.
I agree.
Yeah.
And that entrepreneurship, like we all want to say yes.
Oh, yeah.
We're working on something or a client asks us about something. Our natural thing is yes, we can help you with that. But
I can do that.
That yes, a lot of times involves that story's a little longer than just yes. So
for sure.
Like that's where we're trying to get better too on our side of things is we say yes to, everything when we're building a project, but most everything. But then it's like we got to do a better job about painting that picture for the client,
yes,
and what that's going to cost and what's associated with that answer of yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of yes, so then you're doing remodels. How do you get into pools?
So I had a guy that I had met a while ago down here, just kind of in my network, and older guy, was kind of had some health stuff coming up, and he was looking to get out of the pools, and I was slow, and he had way more work than he could get done, and so I just said, hey man, like teach me how to do this. Like yes.
Yes.
Like I'll figure this out. And so I went and I shadowed him, spent a lot of free time with him. Like when I say free time, not on my time off, but like, hey, I'm going and spending time and learning and educating myself on how you're doing this and just watching. I mean, Texas is interesting. The soil down here is terrible in some areas where it expands and contracts with moisture content. So in dry seasons, it contracts, and in wet seasons, it absorbs and expands. And like it can do up to like 12, 14 inches sometimes.
Yeah, you were saying that.
In terrible conditions.
It's unbelievable.
So, a fiberglass insert or a stainless steel insert, kind of like what you guys see a lot in the Midwest. Like that's just not people sell them down here because they can put them in for a fraction of the price. Right. But, what we typically do is a gunite shell or a shotcrete shell, which is concrete, sprayed in concrete, probably a 12-inch floor is what I do. And then like a 10-inch wall, 12-inch wall sometimes. And sometimes there's even piers underneath them. And,
depending on the soil.
Yeah, depending on the soil and the area. Like on a hill, typically we'll put some piers on the backside, support it. Because the pool's heavy. Concrete, water, a lot of weight there. And so they settle over time. And when the soil expands and contracts, you just don't really know what it's going to do. And so, anyway, observed, hung out with him, talked a lot, and then found a project that was... There's an investor on a project, and he needed a cheap pool. And we just told him, we're like, hey, man, like... We could do it that price, but just so you know, this is like first time on the pool. So are we good with that? He's like, yeah, I'm good with that. I just need a pool. So we jumped in, and it went great. I was like, oh man, nobody's mad about me destroying their kitchen or bathroom. They're not like going and using our porta potty out front of their house or like having to get an Airbnb because they can't handle the dust or something like that. Like they're just mad that their dog can't go outside and pee. And so, it was a way better experience, and it was a very simple process. A lot of times the issues that I saw were just labor, communication, getting guys in site, having permitting and planning done, ahead of time so you don't run into that. And so I just kind of put some systems into place to get that stuff done ahead of time, and project went really smooth, honestly. And we're like, hey, this could work. So we just kind of jumped in and started branching out to other projects, and then got a couple off organic pools, I guess you could say, organic projects. And then they wanted landscaping and area around it. And they're like, I think I have a landscaping guy. I was like, I'll do your landscaping. They're like,
so that's how you jumped into so that was my follow-up on the hardscape
hardscape piece.
It makes sense.
It makes sense. It goes hand in hand. And a lot of guys down here just want to come put the pool in and be done. They don't want to deal with it. But again, from that experience on the remodel side of no, I want to be in one spot and not have, because it would just translate into that. If we just put the shell in, coping, tile, plaster, equipment, we'd be in and out. That'd be great. But then I'm having to wait on all these other guys to get in and do their work before I get paid, because the pool's not done until you can swim in it, and you need a concrete around it to swim in it. So we were just like, it just makes sense for us to do
just do it all.
Yeah. So we are a turnkey, custom, outdoor living space company too. So, I mean, and that just kind of all fell into place. And so I prefer it that way because I'm in one spot and I've got one client to manage. As long as I'm doing a good job of managing that client and expectations, I mean, it's smooth and we've got good labor to get it done. So
it's great. Seeing his work yesterday and going through, like, you can tell Nate's detail oriented and the projects, and listening to him on the phone yesterday, you know, you got a feel for why he's been successful down here and going. I mean, that translates anywhere. The good entrepreneurs that we talk to back home, and when we have them on the podcast, it's like, you know, they're just willing to grind. Yeah. That taking your time to go and learn about pools, a lot of people just aren't willing to do that. You know what I mean? And what that does for him and his business, and so it's just good to see that.
Yeah, I think I see a lot of guys, like, they want to do what we're doing, like, on the scale that we're doing it, right? And, like, I see people that are confused sometimes, like, dude, how'd you go from remodeling a bathroom to landing this, you know, $450,000
commercial pool?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or residential outdoor living space. Like,
yeah.
how'd you get into that market? You know, like, how did you compete with these companies that have been around for 30 years to get into that space and land that job? Like, how did that happen?
I'm curious.
Yeah. And when they asked me that, I was like, I never thought of it that way. You know, like, I never was like, oh, how did that happen? You know, because, I mean, we're not an old company, you know. I mean, I'm in my 30s.
Well, you said the other day, someone that you have a lot of respect for said, hey, I saw that you hit your 5-year mark.
Yeah, one of our...
Congrats. That's rare.
Yeah. One of our... we call it a prime, but he's just like one of our ends on a company. He's a VP over multifamily for this area of Texas, and we were working on his personal house, on his pool, and one of our guys had a shirt on that said 2020. He's like, hey, man, just wanted to say congrats. He's like, that's a huge deal, make it over 5 years. He's like, most of the guys I know, he's like, the statistic in construction for somebody that starts a company is 18 months. He's like, that's the average lifespan of that company.
Yeah.
Like, either it's feast or famine, and most of the time the famine, it happens pretty quick. And so he's like, just congrats, that's a big deal. And it just kind of hit me. I was like, yeah. And coming from him, I mean, he's been grinding and up to the position that he's at now.
Yeah, how old is he?
He's in his 50s, like, probably, I would
Old
imagine.
guy like us.
Old geezer.
Some old fart.
Old gray beard,
Yeah.
Sam says.
Yeah, old gray beard. But yeah, like that
My
meant a
dad's.
lot. Yeah, the dads.
I got a couple dads around me.
Dad,
They're holding
Jen.
a crown over
We're
my
big
head,
brothers.
helping me grow into
It's weird,
it.
though. We're dads, too.
I know.
Yeah, just not of 30-year-olds.
I've got jokes, but I'll
Withhold.
let you continue. Yeah. This could be a really fun podcast,
It
but
could
we'll
be.
keep it about business.
Yeah,
here.
we'll keep it about it. Yeah.
Yeah, but you were talking about just something, the what was it? The piece that,
Like, how we got in.
well, the
on-
people were asking, you know, how did you get to
job?
this level? You
Yeah.
know, it's like you were a handyman and now you're doing
I see-
luxury.
In five short years.
Yeah.
I mean,
And when
5 years is not very long.
No.
And the stuff we went and saw yesterday was more like the meaty. I would say, like, the pool we went to, all that. That's really, I mean, just
Yeah.
awesome stuff. But some of the stuff I've walked into, you know, I walk into these homes and I'm like, how the hell is my brother being entrusted with this place? 'Cause
That I
this
pelted
kid's-
with BB
Yeah,
guns,
exactly.
airsoft guns,
Yeah.
locked him in a shed, and now he's building these incredible.
He had a lot
things.
against him as a kid, you know. He had to climb out of that hardship. And
I did.
go
You taught
make-
me a lot. You know, I actually give you credit.
Yeah.
Because I learned
I was
how
training
to
him.
solve problems.
Training.
But it is impressive the
It was a hot
places.
shed. Had a lot of time to think.
Yeah, he was in there for a
As
while.
Sam regained consciousness.
Yeah.
That's so good.
But it is the thing. The projects that I've walked in, we filmed, you know, we've captured. They're awesome, you know. And that's another thing we're going to talk about here is it's different from a lot of the projects we see in the Midwest. You know, the luxury of it, the quality, the way things look, the expectation around here, the neighborhoods you're in. You
Yeah.
know, it's a high end.
It's a
Job.
it's the area. I mean,
Yeah.
it's for Indiana. It would be, you know, that work around Indianapolis or up on the north side of it.
What
That's
are the
correct.
what was let's say, like in Colleyville where you've done things? What's like the average income?
Yeah, so that's another piece is like the diversity of the demographics is like it's just like it's there. Like there is diversity. Like there's no, oh my gosh, 90% of our jobs are in, you know, $300,000 homes. You know, like that's 90% of our work demographic. And so you can
Is or it's not?
It's not is what I'm saying. Like I would say I've got some experience working in Central Illinois, and majority of it, you're either working in a sub $200,000 home or you're working in a $400,000 to $600,000. Like those are your categories, and like understanding like the scope of work, the dollar amount of the project, like just the total revenue for a project, what would the dollar amount be? I could probably guess pretty well. Here, the problem is, well, it's not really a problem. It's more of like what makes this place great to do construction and get into it is that you can find that niche market in any of those areas. Like I know guys that they focus on a 14 to 2,000 square foot home, a 2.3 to a 4.2 like home, and they do bathrooms and kitchens. That's all they do, and their projects run 15 to 40,000, and they do like 100 of them a year, and they're killing it. Right.
Yeah, so what's like the average income in some like Colleyville?
Yeah, so like that area, I mean, it's probably last time I checked, and this was about 5 years ago, was about $350,000 per household was the average income. So you're talking about an affluent area where you've got a lot of people that they've got cash, they've got money, their jobs are paying them well, and so those provide just a different scale of work. You know what I mean? And so like right now, we mentioned new construction a second ago. We were looking to get in and try to figure out how to penetrate the construction markets. The new construction is extremely competitive down here. Is like you hit a certain, you got to figure out where that niche is, because if you go too small and you try to go with an affordable living for like a first time buyer, it's just oversaturated with tract home builders who are building 100 homes at a time.
Yep.
And they're getting their
Margins are slimmer.
Oh well, yeah, they can. And then you go too luxurious and too big. How do you penetrate that? Why would somebody entrust you to build a $3 to $6 million home when they have no idea who you are? You got no track record. And so, what we've done is we put together kind of like a target, and that target seems to be like 900 to 1.5 is like the target custom luxury home, and they're selling. People in that demographic still have the money to buy, and they're moving here still, and they move pretty quick. And so like that's where we're like, hey, that's kind of where we want to be. We could be lower than that, but it just doesn't really make sense for where we're at and why. And so a part of getting to where we are, of like getting the projects that we have, is like we're very intentional about figuring out what demographic are we going to target, and like what area are we going to target and why. Because I mean, otherwise you just chase everything.
It's so vast out here too.
Oh yeah,
I mean, just
you can just chase your tail all day.
6 miles away, and
Amazing.
It's like what that 6 miles of terrain, like you've got to
compared to what we deal with.
Yeah.
A bunch of cornfields between your job sites.
Yeah.
We drive 6 miles, and we've been through 2 different towns, and
Yeah.
way different.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like getting into like how do we land those quality jobs in a short amount of time, honestly, it's just been networking. Like that's like, I hate to say that, like I don't think we've got a single lead on a outdoor project that we've landed and like pursued in the past, because I've never paid for marketing until this year. And like we've gotten leads and things of that nature like through that, but like in the past, up until, gosh, I don't even know when we started marketing, like late last year. I mean, it's January now.
So your brother is charging you.
Oh yeah.
Seems awkward, but
Oh yeah, I'm charging him.
Yeah, he doesn't work for free. You didn't know that?
Did you hear?
There's going to be a bill after this.
Did you hear the average income of the people he's serving?
All right.
he gets a bill.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Somebody's paying for this. I don't know.
So again, you hear the whole your network is your net worth.
Yeah, I was going to
type thing.
interject.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I mean, it's my past job. I had a really good network of people, and my role was completely different. But getting back in and talking to people hearing about what you were doing, they're like, oh, like, hey, can you come take a look at this? Hey, do you know anybody? And, the projects that we've landed that have been large projects for our portfolio, we're competing with companies that have been around for 20, 30 years. So it's a huge blessing, and it's very humbling to, like, step in and realize, like, oh, man, like, we could really screw this up.
Well, I think something that I hear RJ say often at Solve is people want to work with people they know.
Yeah.
It's like they want to work with someone they can trust, and you're talking about your home.
Yeah.
It's your biggest investment. It's, or if you're not living in it, it is still an investment. You're trying to use it for something. So
Relationship based, people are, you're comfortable working with people that come highly recommended from people you trust. I mean, it's just, that network doesn't have to be business network. It's
I told
a lot of personal
relationships. I told someone recently, sometimes people will be like, well, hey, on social media, I only have 100 followers, just for an example. And it's like, have you put 100 people in a room? Like, who are these 100 people? And do you have their trust? Because that might be all you need.
Yeah.
right.
You don't need 1 million people to know about you, depending on your industry and what you're trying to do. With this, you have 100 homeowners in this area who, want to remodel something or build something.
A pool.
Yeah.
Then they know 100.
Yeah.
Each one of those 100
Exactly.
know 100. I mean, that's your network.
You actually don't need this huge following. You just need to make sure you're connected to the right people.
Yeah, it's just a matter of, in my opinion, just being authentic and genuine and someone that people can trust. Because, I mean,
one of the things I like that you said earlier, and I've seen you say this a lot, and I haven't heard a lot of contractors say this, but you will tell them, hey, things are going to go wrong.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny because I kind of think it is, though, because I often hear contractors they're really good at selling it, and they show up and they talk about all the things they're going to do, and, people don't know what's behind their drywall.
No idea.
And so when you're like, you give them that expectation, and you already have a good reputation anyways, so you can just be honest and say, hey, we're going to get into this. This is the scope we're working on, but there's going to be problems. Something's going to happen. And so I think that in a unique way kind of sets you apart. I would appreciate that, knowing that. I think when you're saying it, you're not like, I'm going to break your home.
Yeah.
But
I feel like
we're going to find some stuff here that isn't what we're going to expect.
Right.
I feel like if you told someone, like you promised them the moon, right? Yeah. And then you get on the journey and it gets hard and they're like, oh, I decided I don't want that. I don't want to go there because it's not going to be, it might be grand when we get there, but I'm just burnt. Like, you just realize people's pain tolerance level. And like in our experience, we realize like a lot of people think that they can go through it and do the Chip and Joanna and the HGTV, 30-minute episode, Full House reno sort of deal, and then they get into it and they're like, oh, this sucks.
It's hard.
Yeah. And these people that are working on my house are like smoking in my yard, leaving their lunch and my trash on the ground, and my dog gets into it. My kids are stepping on nails and stuff. And so like,
Yeah.
For sure.
Are they listening?
No, they're not.
Probably not.
I don't think they'll watch this.
Yeah, maybe. But you learn about that, and like here's a great example. One time we picked up a project and went through it, and at the end of the project on the punch list, like we had ruined like 3 doorknobs in a house because of how much we had been going in and out, and those doors just weren't always shut. They were never used, and so like we just wore them out. Like the door handles were like literally falling off. Doors weren't shutting properly anymore because we just used the shit out of them. And got to the end of it, and the homeowner's like, hey, can you adjust these? I was like, oh yeah, sure. And they were nice about it, no problem. But then our next project that we got, I noticed, I was like, this is actually a remodel on a home that had the same original builder. And so all the hardware was the exact same, very similar floor plan. So I just told the owner, I was like, hey, I didn't include this on my estimate, but I'm going to. I'm probably going to wear this door out. And so we should probably budget for me to, pick up a new door handle at the end of it and replace it. And they were like, just kind of looked at me weird. And my wife was with me, and she's like, you're going to freak them out. Like, don't tell them stuff like that. They're going to be like, oh, my gosh, what else are they going to touch? It's going to fall apart. And, there are pros and cons because I was thinking in my mind, did I just scare these people?
But I think that honest conversation is just speaking from experience. People, in my experience, people appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because you're like, the last job I was at had the same setup. Like, so then I know that you just came off another project, been there, done that type thing.
And the door handle fell off. It did. And we replaced it. And so it's like one of those things now it doesn't take a lot of experience to realize that. I mean, we figured that out in a couple months through a project and then just applied that to the next project. We're like, hey, if you see something like this, just tell the owner about it. Because what's going to happen is if you don't, and then you wear their door handle out, and then they're like, well, man, he's remodeling the bathroom, but the back door is like to crap now because they've been using it so much and like they broke it. Either they're going to throw a fit about it and be like, you need to fix this, it's your fault, or they're going to internalize that and be like, it's not really his scope of work and I'll just take care of it later. And then they never will, and every time they touch the door, they'll think about you and they'll be like, that mother clucker.
I think setting those clear expectations. I mean, Matt and I try to do it in our business. I know I've been in enough business settings with Sam. It's like set that clear expectation up front and early, even if there's some hard conversations to have in there.
Yeah,
I think is very important because it's not all going to be. It doesn't matter what it is. Social media, building somebody's social media, building their house. Like you're going to have problems along the way, or things aren't going to go exactly like.
Everybody be doing it if it was smooth, man.
That's right.
We'd all be rich.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, if I had the money back from all the money I've spent on punch list and touch up or revisits, the gas money, if I get the miles back from driving out to people's houses and like checking on things, punch listing, just making our work and our clients happy, I'd be a lot happier and wealthier today, and my truck would probably not break down as much. But I mean, we just spend a lot of time paying attention to that detail. And if anybody's listening that has hired us in the past, and they're like, oh no. I'm like, we spend so much time making sure, like, hey, make sure this is done, make sure we clean this up, you know, because we've worn grass out of people's yards because they're like, you know, we send them a list before we start a project, and we say, where's our water source? Where can we clean tools? Where can we pile trash? Where can we park? Which neighbors should we not park in front of their house? Do you have a dog? Does it bite? You know, do you have a cat? Do you have a parrot that's going to fly out a door if we leave it open? That's happened before. You know, we spend a whole day chasing a parrot down. Who would have thought? You know, you get into construction, remodeling bathrooms, and then you didn't budget to send 6 guys into the neighborhood looking for a parrot saying, Pappy, Pappy.
Did you take your childhood bow out there and whack that parrot out of the tree?
No, I had my shotgun in my truck, though, and I was like, if I see this thing, I'm just going to poof. And I was like, I actually called PetSmart, and I was like, do you have a blue macaw? And
Do you happen?
Yeah.
That will answer to Pappy.
Like, and does he know how to come to a cracker? Because if not, how long will it take him? Because, like, we ain't finding this parrot. This parrot got out, and he's like, I'm going back to the Bahamas.
Right.
Like, I've seen movies and cartoons, and those birds don't want to be caged.
I can see the bad review. They let my parrot out.
Yeah.
Pappy.
Haven't seen my parrot since I hired Waitcraft LLC.
Bathroom looks great. 2-star review.
Yeah, 2-star review. My parrot got away.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
no,
funny.
but like we send them a list of something like that just from experience of like every time something new happens, like we put it on the list. We're like, just put it on the list of like, which gate shouldn't we use? Where shouldn't we park? Which neighbors are cranky? You know, like, and we shouldn't park in front of their house.
I love that.
Like HOA, you know, have you talked to your
Constant
HOA?
learning.
Oh,
we
yeah.
were just talking about it last night.
Yeah.
Like we're on a project and it's same thing. Like we're like, okay, we should have did this different, and that different. Every project you learn more.
Yep. And then the worst part is when you do the same thing. I've got a builder here that's a good mentor of mine. He's been building for, 40 years, I think. And he builds beautiful homes, very small, custom home builder. Like he's not doing 15 homes a year. He's doing, 3 to 6, I would say, but has just laser focused his process. His margins are fantastic because the system's great. He's never had an owner, like as long as I've known him, be upset with him. Like, and if there is, they handle the conflict. He has good contracts, clear communication. And he always tells me, it's so funny. Sometimes I'll make a mistake. I'm like, I'm not telling Tom about this because I told Tom about the same mistake 3 projects ago. And Tom's going to be like, gosh, I hate talking to you, man. You just keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. It's just a different. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're right. But like that list, it really helps us set an expectation because like I didn't realize this going into it, but like I don't know why, but homeowners are picky, man. Like they have certain things that in their mind are a huge deal, and like you might not think it's a big deal, but it could make or break your relationship. We had a homeowner that didn't want us cleaning out any paintbrushes at their house, like anywhere, outside, inside, nowhere. And so my painters were like, what do we do then? Like, where do we clean stuff? And
Aluminum foil.
yeah, put in aluminum foil, take it home, clean it at your house. And they were like, that's ridiculous. And
We'll charge a little more for it. That's
Yeah.
what the customer wants.
Yeah, it's one of those deals of like, how do you handle that? Because you get into a project and then you realize, oh, I can't clean. My tile guys can't clean their saw. They can't clean any of their trowels or buckets. My sheetrock guys can't clean anything. My paint guys can't clean anything. Like, what do you do? And like, they were serious about it. And I don't know if it was as much of them as it was they were worried about keeping their neighbors happy and the HOA happy. So if like you clean out a bucket in the street or out in the driveway or in the side yard and it leaks through and gets on something, I mean, I've had that happen. I had to pay like $3,500 one time to a crew to come in and pressure wash the sidewalks in HOA because like my painter cleaned out a bucket that he was using for water and he dumped it in the yard and it seeped out onto the sidewalk. And so after it dried, it was fairly clean water. It wasn't like raw paint, but it was like diluted. And he had dumped it out in the side yard and it seeped out onto the sidewalk and it was stained. So anyway, HOA popped the homeowner for a fee. So I said, I'll come out and spray, pressure wash your whole sidewalk and your driveway, just going above and beyond, paid a guy to go out and do it. HOA pinged him again. Well, now none of the sidewalks or driveways match.
It's too clean.
I was like, oh my gosh.
Too clean.
So we went out and we pressure washed that side and they just kept hammering that homeowner. And I was like, so what do I do? Do I just walk away and be like, hey, this is your problem? Like we pressure washed, we've done our due diligence, but we went back and we pressure washed
Every
all
house
the
in
sidewalks.
neighborhood.
Well, no, we didn't pressure wash the driveways, but we pressure washed all the sidewalks. Like literally hired a company to come out and pressure wash and clean all the sidewalks. And I was like, was that a mistake or was that a win? Because like I felt kind of like I was being taken advantage of. you know, because like, hey, we cleaned the driveway where there was a problem. Like, it's kind of unrealistic to expect us to clean everything. You know what I mean? But like, I was just one of the examples of I was trying to get more business out of the neighborhood, and we were trying to do the right thing.
I think that's a win. I think, you know, it's hard sometimes. You're like, I just, you know, clean the sidewalk. I feel like I do my due diligence, but I think what keeps you, it keeps the mojo going your way. It keeps that good karma going your way. It's just do what you think is right.
Yep.
And as long as you can walk away from that project feeling like you've done that customer the way that, you know, you feel like is right, or that if that person was working for you and he's out there and he's power washed all the sidewalks, that leaves that person a good, you know, some good vibes towards you. And I just think it helps you down the road.
For sure. I think that something I've learned on that specific piece is that it's got way less to do with other people on you having a clear conscience and like doing the right thing, and way less to do with other people and way more to do with you.
Yes.
Because I've bent over backwards for people before.
And they're still not happy.
happy. And I lose sleep at night, and then they write me a mean letter or a mean email or something like that. And they're like, hey, this is like, you owe me this and you that. And like, you were late on this. And I had a cabinet guy one time. I was telling you guys about this the other night. He a huge project, like $120,000 worth of cabinets, gave him a deposit. And literally the next day in the mail, I got a levy notice about he had been paying his taxes out $80,000 to the IRS. And, you know, they were like, hey, if you pay him, we're coming after you. And so at the time I was like, I'm not sure what to do. So I called my CPA and an attorney and just asked him like, yeah, probably we shouldn't pay him. And you should probably put a stop pay on that check. And so I did. And then the owner was ticked. They were like, why? Right. Like, my project's behind now. And I was like, well, I really don't know what to do in this situation. Like, you know, he makes great cabinets, but in my opinion, he's a flight risk. You know, like he owes $80,000 and they're probably making his life miserable. Like all of his contacts are getting this letter.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so like, what do I do? Right. And so I felt like the right thing to do is not gamble with my client's money.
That's right.
And stop pay the check. But they were more upset about the timeline. And then they ended up going back and saying, if he can get them done, we're doing this because the project's moving forward. And I was just like, gosh, I don't know what to do in this situation. And so, you know, that's a great situation where it's like, I brought somebody in because they have quality work. And I set a clear expectation with the owner too. I said, hey, this guy's not the greatest at communication, but he makes fantastic cabinets and they're affordable. Like, do you want to use them? And she was like, yeah, absolutely. And so anyway, like that was a great example of a situation where it's like, I really don't know how to be more on top of this or, you know, make my client happy. But what I did is I did the right thing in my opinion of I stopped, paid the check, was honest with the owner and said, hey, listen, we got to find an alternative solution. I don't recommend using this guy because of these reasons. And then she made a decision to do what she wanted to do. And I served her the best that I could in those situations. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But like, in my opinion, what I benefited from that was like that owner's probably still not happy with us. Cause like project took another, 3 months because finding another cabinet maker that had the time in their schedule, like was impossible. Right. But, not having somebody run off with $60,000, I feel like is a better win. And I learned a ton, like, hey, here's kind of how to handle these situations and, do that. Because everybody I talked to, like, yeah, I've never had that happen to me before. I was like, oh, well.
Yeah. Well, lucky me.
You're lucky me.
I had it happen.
Yay.
Yeah. It's good for you.
Yeah.
Well, I think too that being a Wabash Valley business podcast, we got a Wabash Valley boy that has moved to Texas and done some good work.
Yep,
I think he's talking about doing some stuff back in the homeland. I don't know if he wants to get into that or not, or touch on that.
We're always interested in getting back, and we're doing some work kind of in our own stopping grounds, things of that nature. We're not really sure what that looks like yet. How does our experience and our expertise from down here translate up to there?
Because your wife's from Illinois, and you're from Rockville.
Yeah, I'm from Rockville, Indiana.
So you guys are both Midwest folk.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of opportunity for work up there. It's just a different scale than down here. I would say, and I'm not saying this because I live here and I think this place is better than anywhere else. I just think that the pace of down here is insane. It's a grind. I mean, we work 365 a year. I mean, there's no off season. Right now, how cold is it up home?
2.
Yeah,
2 degrees.
2. How cold is it? It's 2.
And they're cool. Thanks for having us. Thanks for hosting us in your home. We're in your house. You got drywall going up with the crew right now behind us. So if you heard that, that's what's going on.
Thanks for driving 12 hours to come see me.
Yeah,
it was worth the trip.
Well worth it.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. All right, signing off.
Thanks, Nate.
Peace.